Welcome to the series presented by Thunder and Light Studios. I'm Ryan Stockard. I'm a documentary filmmaker who's traveled the world filming and capturing testimonies of God's miraculous work and His supernatural power. Now I'm sharing those stories with you, as well as stuff I've learned along the way. In this episode, I'll tell you about a time I was doing street evangelism and accidentally stopped a murder.
Y'all ready for this?
So just after I gave my life to Christ, I found a group of guys around my age in their mid-20s who had started a ministry down on the streets. Now, we were crazy enough to think that if you had a pickup truck with a microphone and a speaker and a stack of pizzas, shared the gospel, and called people to repentance, that they'd actually do it. And they did. We saw so many people saved. We saw demons cast out. We saw people healed all the time. Now, in this particular night, it was getting to be around late fall, so it was pretty cold. In Canada, it was below the freezing mark. And so we started out and went alley after alley and street after street all through downtown for like the next half hour, trying to find somebody to give some free pizza to and pray for. Finally, as we were walking up this street, we looked down an alleyway and I noticed there was a group of people kind of huddled around this opening. And so we went down this dark alley and we got to this opening and it kind of looked like a garage space, just a big square kind of cut into the bottom of this building where there was homeless people all the way around the edge of this square in sleeping bags. Now, what I noticed when we came up was there was two guys talking to another guy and they kind of seemed agitated. And we walked in and basically said, "Hey guys, would you like some pizza?" And everybody was kind of caught off guard. And so there was four of us. There was two guys and two girls, and we split up and kind of went around to all the different sleeping bags, offering pizza to people and offering to pray for people and gave Bibles to whoever wanted Bibles. And I felt drawn to these two guys who didn't really look like they fit in. They were wearing nicer clothes, leather jackets. So I came up to them and said, "Hey guys, would you like some pizza?" And the one guy said, "Hey man, I'll catch you later." And he darted off. And the other guy, who seemed to be the guy in control, said, "Well, no, just give the pizza to my people here." And I found it interesting. He called them his people. And he said, I kind of look after them. I protect them. I watch over them and make sure everything's safe and good with them. And he didn't want the pizza, so he handed it out to the rest. And then I came up to him again a couple minutes later and asked him if he wanted a Bible. And he kind of looked at it and said, "I used to believe in God. I used to go to church many years ago, and I feel like I kind of lost my way." He said, "I've got into some real bad stuff and stuff that I can't even talk about with you, but I could use some prayer, and if you don't mind, I would like to keep this Bible." I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So I just put my hands on him and just prayed for him, and he actually started crying a little bit, and he held on to that Bible pretty close to his chest. When I was done praying, he thanked me. He actually gave me a hug, and a girl came running up, and she seemed a little tweaked out on something, and so they left together, and then we just kind of continued our ministry there. But before I could get too much further, a homeless guy came up and said, "Hey man, do you got a smoke? Do you have a smoke?" And he was just shaking, and I said, "No, sorry, I don't smoke." He's like, "Okay, just give me a second." And he went in and he found a smoke, and he came back and he lit it up, and he's smoking. I said, "Hey man, are you okay?" And he said, "Well, those two guys that I was standing with, I owe them a lot of money for drugs, and I can't pay them. I have no way to pay them. So when you guys walked up, they were discussing how they were going to kill me, and they had just decided on a hanging with the belt." And I remember the one guy who's kind of fidgety and twitchy, he was actually holding on to a belt when I'd walked up, and I thought that was kind of weird, and then he jetted off. And this guy said, I can't thank you enough. And we immediately knew that we had to get this guy to safety. And so we gathered him up, his belongings and stuff, and we took him to a coffee shop and let him use our cell phone. And he had a family member come and pick him up and take him to safety. And we were so blessed that night because we were frustrated. We had been cruising up and down these cold back alleys for a long time, probably almost an hour, looking for people to hand out pizza to. And we couldn't find anybody because it was so cold out. Most people were in shelters. But we persevered and kept pushing through the cold and eventually stumbled upon this situation in the right time, in the perfect time. God's timing is always perfect. And we stumbled upon this guy in the perfect moment when he needed somebody to rescue him. And I just encourage you, you don't have to be walking through dark back alleys with pizza trying to reach out to people. Do it in your everyday life. Do it at your workplace. Do it with your family and your friends. Do it through social media. Just be reaching out and loving somebody. In the next video, I'll tell you about a letter I wrote that accidentally saved the wrong person. So subscribe to our channel and share these videos with as many people as possible. Thanks for watching the series presented by Thunder and Light Studios.